Bueno, what up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the South Star Classroom. I'm your co-host, Omar Yanad, and with me, as always, the incredible co-host of the South Star Classroom. We got at the top, the lovely, the radiant, the queen, Miss Jubilee Ransom. How we doing, Jubilee? You're on mute.
I know. I was trying to start my stream, but it's fine. I'll do it in a minute. But I am doing great. I'm tired. Had a long day, and I'm about to be eating this fried rice that I just made on the air. So everybody just got to give me grace and go with it. But I'm good.
Eat that fried rice, baby. Eat that fried rice. With us, as always, is Dr. Charles Cole buying that wine. And as soon as he buy it, he's going to creep up from behind and ask you what your interests are and who you be with and the things that make you smile and what numbers to dial. Doc,
yeah.
What
you going to be here for a while? Yeah, because I'm going
to call your crew.
Call my crew, yeah. And we can rendezvous
around the bar.
Round two.
Round two.
Maybe, you know.
Right up.
We can segue for David to check in.
David's the DJ, so you know.
David also looking like commando and shit. Although I'm trying to figure out the logo on top of his hat. It looked like a Grateful Dead logo, but it ain't. He's ready to be camouflaged into the background.
But David,
Doc, you doing all right?
The DJ name? Is it like
DJ Cool Vibes? DJ Chinga Tu Madre.
DJ
He's told us before. He's told us a few times.
I had a bunch of different ones. Yeah.
You got to say some of them, brother.
That's correct.
I went by my name most of the time. When I was doing hip hop primarily, my name was DJ Audio Intellect. You know, because I'm intellectual like that. Mm-hmm. And then when I was doing like all kinds of formats, Latin music, African music, funk, jazz, hip hop, rap, electronic. I was just my name. Or no, I was DJ Chango with an acento sobre el O. Chango.
Chango.
Yeah.
Versus Chango.
It's a deity of the one of the Orishas.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You want some more? We got more.
Spiritual and shit. Exactly. Give us one more, just for the flavor, just to savor the flavor, baby. Give us one more. Tell us.
Oh, and
that's it. I'm tapped out.
Well, just for the people watching, there's been some updates, and I don't know if you guys got it. So now we're able to take both in this regular format that most of you are seeing us on. But if you're watching on your phone, there's also a vertical format at the same time as well. It's simultaneously capturing both. So a lot of people watching their phone. So, I should be able to pipe this into TikTok at some point. And then you guys should plug in add in your destination so people can watch with us. But happy Veterans Day to everybody as well. Just wanted to wish my father, who is a Marine, my uncle, who is a Marine from Vietnam, and then my brother, who did 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan, the Army. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service.
Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Absolutely. I didn't know if y'all had vets in y'all life, so I couldn't. I was gonna get in trouble if I didn't mention it. So,
no. Happy Veterans Day for sure. Yeah, I've got several family members that go back to the Korean War, and then Vietnam, and then more recently through modern day. So yeah, I'd say Happy Veterans Day, but just like honoring the sacrifice that the veterans have made.
Yeah, you know what I learned,
and like specifically like Black and Latino veterans who fought in foreign wars for this country, for democracy, and who come back and still get shit upon by this country.
Yeah. My uncle was telling me, there's a whole village of like Black Vietnamese. There's a whole like new race of people, and a lot of them stayed. What I think it is though, David, and somebody in the chat can correct us. I say Happy Veterans Day, and then I say something different for Memorial Day. I think Veterans Day, I'm like, okay, celebrating you, happy you're a veteran. Memorial Day is the somber one, people that they lost. So
Right.
get that wrong.
Also recognizing the veteranos who may not have fought in wars, but who have fought in wars on the streets of the United States of America's big cities, many of whom are locked up.
Right.
There you go.
I raise a glass to them. Here.
Yeah.
All you owe.
All right, man. That was beautiful.
Hey, before we kick off, I had the opportunity to
tell us more of your DJ names.
No. I'm part of this Pahara Fellowship program.
Yes.
It's like super top secret, urban reform, education reform.
Illuminati.
And I can't talk too much about it, but I mean, it essentially was a program that was designed to help connect smaller cohorts of people that are doing similar work in education. And so it's very valuable for that. Like I've met some really amazing kick-ass human beings. And we got together last weekend for our reunion. We started in 2017. And some of the people in my group, I think, you'd recognize some of the names, leading some of the top, philanthropic organizations. Mike Miles is in my cohort, the superintendent of Houston Independent School District.
Yeah.
It's like it's been a couple of days with people like that, and they're all like very interesting and smart, and we've just really formed a really great community. And so we get to go as long as we can get ourselves organized and get ourselves to the airport in Denver. They pick us up from there, but they take us up to this place called Black Rock, which is just outside of Denver, and it's a retreat center. Lone Rock. Sorry, man, Lone Rock. And it was my first time there. My first time there, and I was blown away by it, man. That's all I
said this is right up Davis' alley. So tell us how it was for you. I'm sorry,
why did it blow your mind?
It's very high. So you're like at 9,000 feet, maybe 85, 86. So you've got this oxygen issue, which you have to deal with. But just the meeting spaces, the design, the architecture of the facilities is, I've never seen anything like it before. So, I mean, they really created a place for people to go and kind of disconnect and then to reconnect, in a very intentional setting. And yeah, I mean, kudos to Reed Hastings and whoever else is involved in that project, because it's a very cool place. I got to hang out with Chris Stewart was there. So
he was there.
See Brother Chris.
Oh, right on.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is the CEO of NACSA part of your group, a guy named Kariga?
Oh, Kariga was there. Kariga's my guy. He's my guy.
I saw his picture. I was like, Kariga. Okay.
Love him. Yeah, he's my guy.
Nice.
So anyways, that's my check-in. But I'm back at sea level now. I can breathe. Happy to be home.
When I played basketball, they took us up to Tahoe, which is not too much shorter than that. And that's how we had to train up there. We had tournaments there. It was to get you ready, but it's a lot. So yeah. All good, man. All good. Well, Omar, it's your show, brother. Do your thing, man. I'm glad David got to have that good time up there.
That's cool, man. That's cool. You didn't sacrifice no live virgins and shit, did you?
No, but we probably had what's equal to a sweat lodge.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say, I feel like you would love the pool area, the hot tub.
Oh,
they
yeah.
got a cold plunge.
Oh,
they got a sauna. I mean, the whole thing is really nice. I thought the three of us went somewhere else. It wasn't there. I thought that's where I was thinking that we went together. But yeah.
That's cool shit. I want to hit up that hot tub.
We got to bring you up there, Omar. I'm sure there'll be a reason to take you. I'm sure.
I'm sure I can just crash already. Man, I can crash that shit. That's how I like joining these things, man. Any club that will have me as a member.
It's very remote though, bro.
I don't want to be a member
very
of.
remote.
Yeah, it's way out there.
All right.
Fair enough, man. So speaking of hot tubs and happiness, that actually, not hot tubs, but happiness is the focus of our show today. Stumbled upon a really fascinating article. And this was predicated on there is an obsession, if you will, friends, with the concept of happiness, particularly, I would arguably say, in the United States, right? And that happiness is so much about, like, you see it on social media. First, you see this annoying shit on social media, which I fucking love to look at, which is this like simplistic, stupid shit, usually from some dumb fuck in some like remote area like Bali, like appreciating life. Happiness is my resolve today. And I'm like, motherfucker, yeah, because you're in Bali. Like, you need to shut the fuck up with your like pedantic shit. And you're like, whatever, like wannabe influencer horse shit. This is scientific today. And what I love about this is that it's a juxtaposition to the horseshit that's out on social media, the stupidity of these influencers who have the means to demonstrate how wonderful their lives are while people are struggling to buy groceries. Like, it's just that level of tone deafness is something that makes me want to throw a milkshake at those people. Interestingly enough, gentlemen, I don't know if you all know, and beautiful lady, there's a graduate school of happiness at Claremont McKenna University. The graduate school is focused on the science of happiness, and some of these studies have come out of here. So let me set the plate. What are we talking about today? We are talking about the science of happiness, folks, the science of happiness. So there was a multi-year study that was led out of Cornell University. And the idea was, we're going to give young people, college and high school kids, about $400. And they get to use this $400 to make a contribution to their community, their family, anything that they feel would improve the lives of others. And what they did was, in any study, they gave this group A the $400, and then there was a group B that was not given the $400. And what they did was they did a composite study of happiness on students, and it was, inclusive of a sense of purpose, belonging, feeling useful, emotional well-being, so on and so forth, and found that all the students were pretty much at the exact same levels.
Okay.
6 to 8 weeks later, the students that were given the $400 found a remarkable difference, significantly higher in happiness levels and purpose levels and flourishing than those of the control group, the group that was not given any money. What they found was that not only in identifying one's purpose, but making small concrete contributions to others is a efficient path for greater happiness, greater fulfillment, and greater love. And what's cool about that is that, we look at, I will consider myself a culprit of turning into like the old man group of like kids these days and their phones, and these millennials and these Gen Z kids. Well, this study was done with Gen Z kids, the narcissistic, selfish generation of me and iPhone and me and self-importance and me and not LinkedIn, that's us. What is it? The Snapchats and all that shit. And really what they found is that within every human being is locked this code that if we care about each other, give to one another, help one another, and have a sense of purpose behind it, there's ludicrous fulfillment. In fact, it was Nietzsche who famously said, they who have a why to live can bear any amount of how. They that have a why to live can bear any amount of how. And like, all four of us are testaments of that. All four. And all of our work and the schools that we've created and the work that we've done, we have tolerated all the hows because we've had a significant why. Now, that's, I think it's why I'm particularly mostly a happy-go-lucky guy, because most of my time is spent on helping others. So this study is basically saying, hey, amidst all the noise out there is this centrifugal idea. And it's not to take away from therapy yoga, exercise, sun, all those things that I think contribute, good sleep, that contribute to our well-being. What it's saying is that here's an indelible code that we need to think about. And being educators ourselves, I have switched it and been like, how do we think about this in terms of things that we can do in our schools and giving our kids this sense of purpose, well-being, contribution, to think about things greater than themselves? Like oftentimes, Doc, Jubilee, David, you've seen that, like, it's the high school kids tutoring the middle school kids, and it's the high school kids that are doing the tutoring that take so much more out of it than the middle school kids, because the high school kids feel like a sense of responsibility, a sense of giving back, a sense of purpose, a sense of like, I don't want this middle school kid to make the mistakes I do. And it truly elevates their self-esteem and their sense of worth. So this is where we're at. I just want to kind of lay that out there. I know you guys got to see a bit of the article and just get your initial thoughts before we jump into questions. What you think about this happiness game in science? Jubilee, what do you think? I'm going to pick on you while you're eating your fried rice. I'm just kidding. I'm going to David, because you got a mouthful of fried rice.
David's drinking his. What you drinking today, David? Coca-Cola?
I've got some iced tea. Iced tea.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Like from iced tea?
From iced tea.
That man's saying cop killer, and he's on a show about cops.
Okay, so what is the question? Is it like, are we starting from the top?
Yes,
just like,
yeah,
basic
this is just like your
response
general takeaways about the study, about the science of giving back, the science of happiness, and then we'll jump into the questions, my man.
I think even jumping back further than that, I think you know, and part of this can be generational, part of it can be cultural, part of it can be based on, you know, different people's like income levels. But I think happiness really boils down to like perspective, and I think it's an incredibly objective, subjective, you know, like concept. You know, I think it means different things to different people. You know, and I think for some people it can be a lot deeper in terms of like, you know, that like giving back component, or like I'm put here on this earth. You're like a mission-driven person.
Right.
And so if I'm able to like carry out my mission, you know, through my work, that's incredibly validating, right? That's like self-affirming. But I think for some people, it's a lot more basic, you know? For some people, it can be just like kind of, you know, more meditative, or just kind of like being. And then I think some people a lot of people don't think about it in terms of like the meta way that we are thinking about it now. Like for them, happiness is just like, it's like a visceral feeling, right? I'm safe. I got my hamburger. I got my TV, you know, and nobody's bothering me. I'm happy.
No one's bothering me. And I wonder if this article is poking at that, which is
maybe, yeah,
there's a thought of being content, right? And then there's happiness. And I would venture to say that one should never strive to always be happy. Like, you know, Marcus Aurelius or any of the Stoics, we should all drive to find acceptance and contentment. But this article is kind of getting into the fact that, like, let's separate the two out between content and happiness, and the fact that, oh, we've found a bit of a key here. Doc, thoughts, and then Drew.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't want to be a curmudgeon. So like, I think happiness is a good thing.
Baby, be a curmudgeon, man. You want to be like,
let me tell you what I mean.
And on these Bali influencers, then that's cool too, baby.
Let me listen. I think people should be happy. I think it's a beautiful thing. I am just so caught up in the form of education that I'm a part of and what's not happening, that if I went to a school that was failing, right, or I had a kid at a school that was not doing the other things well, and then they tell me that they have this new happiness curriculum thing that they also are now doing, I just be like, the fuck are y'all doing? Like, I mean, like, I just need you to do what you're supposed to do well. Now, listen, a great school of happiness should be a byproduct of that. It should be baked in. I should not notice that these things are happening. It should just be part of it. But I think it's a great idea, Omar. Let me just say that. Omar, Jubilee, and David, I think it's a great idea. We should be concerned with people's happiness. Okay. Did I do that right? Did I say that? Did I affirm it first?
Well, I want to just I want to just take this moment to say that I enjoyed that you started out with, and as soon as I drink out of my chalice of orange soda that's inevitably being spit in, I hate you. I hate you. I don't even know you. I hate your guts.
I'm not saying that, right? I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think this is part of the issue that schools are struggling with now. Is they're trying to be everything but educators. They're trying to be social workers. They're trying to be happy gurus. They're trying to tell people what they should, like what they should be morally and things like that. And I don't know I think that's mission creep. I think you should just be educating people. And again, I think it should be a byproduct. I think that, I've been to great schools and the kids look happy as hell to me. So, I mean, I get it. I just feel like we keep finding a new flavor of the week that can further distract us from doing the business that we're in, which is teaching and educating the next generation of people in this country. And we see where our country is. We see the political disarray, the political illiteracy. We see that critical thinking skills are dropping way, way down. I just don't want them picking up no new shit. I want them to, unless that new shit is helping them be better educators. But I want
everybody to hear this right now. This is fresh off the charts of South Star Classroom. Dr. Charles Cole says, "Fuck your happiness, David."
Sounds like a teacher. You tried, Charles. Who told you deserve to get your t-shirt? Who told you deserve to be happy? Who told you that? So I don't know if it's like deserve to be happy. First of all,
but I'm just saying happiness is different for so many people that, like, again, that's why it's not your job to do. But I continue.
Y'all know I'm always gonna be a teacher, no matter how.
I love this show.
Go in leadership. Before my kids would come out of my class, right, I decided to teach where I grew up, in East New York, Brooklyn. And when I got to third grade, I found my sweet spot. When I taught fifth grade, I had kids that were biting sharpeners to get the blade out so they can go cut somebody after school. Kids stealing money from my pocketbook, fighting, starting fires in the garbage can. Like, that was my class. Okay. Third grade, I was like, man. Fifth grade, I figured something out. Like, how do I get these children to want to, like, be here and somehow figure out how to shake off what they are experiencing outside of it? Because it most definitely is very bold, bodacious, and present in my classroom, right? There's no separation right now between what they are experiencing outside in the street and at home and when they're coming to the classroom. So I, as the teacher, need to figure out how to illuminate this environment and add some joy, some happiness to the environment so that it feels different from where they're coming from, right? And it wasn't everyone's case, but it was a lot of their cases. And when I became a third grade teacher, before they would walk in my class, I would say, all right, everybody, shake it off, and literally pretend to have a feather that I was shaking off all the dust. We are stepping into a place of learning. We are stepping into a place that's filled with positivity and joy. We are stepping into a place that's filled with honesty and truth. And when you're in here, you're going to be loved, seen, valued, and you're going to learn. You're going to learn today. All right. And I think it is when Charles says that there's a bunch of schools and the kids look happy as hell. This often, like, these conversations, and I'm talking about beyond SEL. SEL is a part of it. But like this joy factor, as this organization I used to work with, Achievement First, would call it, or happiness factor, is a huge part of the composition of what creates an environment where kids are happy as hell, right? And it's not, I think it is a byproduct of a healthy learning environment, but I also think it's a foundational tool. I think it's a prerequisite almost. So I'm here for it. I don't think it's a distraction more than us like trying to get back to what we should have been doing right? When we look at our chronic absenteeism rate, when we look at how many kids just don't even want to be to school, COVID been going 5 years and the people still ain't come back to the school building. They're finding anything to do but be in a school
They're
building.
never coming back, baby.
Like they not. I mean, there's a bunch of other reasons for that. But all I'm saying is when we look at schools that have higher attendance rate, right, like higher scores, higher all the things, it's not just good teaching, right? Or maybe it is good teaching, but good teaching does encompass this piece about being able to activate and pay attention to joy, to happiness, and the things that evoke positivity to set up psychological safety to get a kid to be able to learn. So I do see a place for it.
See, and I'm with you because I think that there's a both and. And in my opinion, there's a both and in we can teach students to read, we can teach students to do math. And within those factors, you can still give students a sense of purpose, a sense of well-being, and a sense of contribution in an academic setting and an academic factor. And like one of the small, this kind of leads up to our first question. One of the small ways is like helping another student out. Hey, like you're having trouble figuring this out. Let me help you. Which, by the way, is like at the top of the comprehension pyramid, which is those who can teach it comprehend it the most. So you've got abilities, like you said, to integrate these things almost seamlessly into the classroom. And I don't know if it's like, and Doc, I love you, man. I love these discussions and hella funny rants and shit. And I'll lean into this because I know what Doc is saying. Doc clearly is like, hey, man, listen, like, why don't we focus on this good shit and we're having a good time? But I'll say this, like, there is a lot to say about having kids care about school and the purpose and mission of why they are there, and not just like, yo, I'm here to learn how to read. Well, maybe your mission and purpose is to figure out how to read first and then move forward. But if they feel they've got a mission and purpose, I mean, look again, man, lean on me. Kids, we got the damn exam and we got to study for the exam and we got to get ourselves out of this situation because everyone thinks that we're fools. I love talking like Morgan Freeman. Hey, man, that's a mission. That's a purpose. So just leads into our first question, which is without going crazy and be like, hey, we're going to give every kid $400 to contribute, which is just the study. How can schools integrate like small contributions for its purpose and to everyday classroom routines? What are the small ways that we can do this without taking away from the purpose of education?
I don't think.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead, David.
Julie. No, go ahead.
I don't think it could ever take away from the purpose of education. Every school is anchored in a community. Where do you go to school at? What's around? What are the needs of the school, the community where your school is anchored? And how can you support? Can you plant a tree? Can you go to the elderly home and read them a book? Like there's always little small ways and kind gestures, right? And I think, it's interesting. I was going to open a school that was all about community service learning, right? And it was this connection to like, how do we merge the two, right? Like it's not distracting you from it.
That's
it's
cool.
Be like civically engaged, and ways that we can do this that also help us learn what we need to learn in terms of our standards and grade level expectations. So, I mean, I think there's plenty of little ways that can be done that actually can support learning, especially if you're doing thematic learning. There's tons of ways to tie it in. I've seen it done and I've done it.
We, when I was the head of school at Urban Montessori, I learned a lot by reading the ambitious charter that they had developed long before I got there, like maybe a couple of years. But it was a two-part, it was really a two-part model, and half of it was around core values. And one of the challenges that I found when I came in was that not enough attention had been paid to the other half, which is like, we're still a public school and we have to demonstrate that kids are like learning math, reading,
Proficient.
Not getting suspended, this and that, right? And so we ended up balancing the two of those very well, during the 3 years that I was there. But I wanted to share with you what it looked like, because I think this is what you're talking about, Omar, and what my point here, and we don't have to go over all of it, is that when schools do this, it really has to be part of their core values, their kind of foundation, right? It's like before you even talk about academics or these other things, like how are we going to relate to one another as human beings, right? And so this is like the framework for our for the model that was created. It's like tied to some of the design thinking work coming out of the D School from Stanford. I think you've heard of that school, Omar.
Yeah.
And so this is what it looked like at Urban Montessori, right? We notice and we care. We embrace our common humanity to build our school community, and then you can read the rest. We notice and care, meaning that we're building a learning community. That means developing our grace and courtesy, which is kind of part embedded in the Montessori, pedagogy, as well as our empathy and inquiry muscles. So empathy and inquiry. Empathy is a core component of, I think, what we're talking about in terms of like happiness and like helping other people, because it requires that you are able to empathize with other people's situations, right? You're not sympathizing for them, but you are empathizing with them. Those are two different things. And then we work together to create, we solve problems. We're innovators. We are collaborators. And then we share and reflect, always talking about and dialoguing with the needs of others in mind, sharing ideas, our creations, seeking feedback. So it's that whole cycle. This is a TK through 8 school. These are like young children that we're actually like using this framework with, and not just students, but also staff and parents. So can it be done? Absolutely. But it has to be balanced. It can't be too much of this and not enough of that, or not enough of that and too much of this. And that requires, a particular type of like leadership, that understands that like, doesn't matter how pretty it looks or how like, sophisticated the model looks and what you talk about in your slide deck. At the end of the day, if the outcomes are not there for kids,
right,
it doesn't matter what you're doing. Right.
Absolutely.
And just really, was there like a small way that people demonstrated this at the school?
We demonstrated it in the way that, students interacted with one another within. So with something that's very interesting in the Montessori classroom is there would be like, we had big class sizes, like 30 kids in a class. But we only had like 15 chairs, right? So students would have to like engage in conflict around like, where they're going to work with a chair and a desk or at a rug or in a different part of the classrooms. There was a lot of like negotiation that happened with students and at the adult level. There was definitely conflict. I mean, we had design thinking challenges and all that stuff too. But just in terms of the core way in which we interacted, when there was conflict, like we were not necessarily a conflict, like what do you call it? Conflict resolution. What do they call that thing?
Conflict resolution.
But they call it
justice.
Yeah, we weren't really an RJ school, but we had this process. So if we got into a conflict, say me and Omar got into a conflict, I was using the 100 board. He wanted to use it. He came over. He grabbed it for me. And we got into a conflict. We had this thing called the peace path, where students could go outside on their own, with the door open. And it was like a kind of a hopscotch thing where students started out, with talking about how they felt, talking about how the other students' actions impacted them, talked about, what could be done differently if this conflict arises again, because it's likely to, right? And then lastly, come into some agreements, right? And these are students that are doing this on their own with training.
That's dope.
It's possible. It happened while I was there, and I would be walking the hallways and I'd see students out doing the peace path, and I would just look at them and affirm what they're doing, but I wouldn't sit and, I would just keep walking. I'm like, they're working out their stuff between two human beings, right? And there are other examples. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna just say, like, I agree 1000% with everything that was said. I think you pointed it out a little bit though, David. My point, right, which is it's baked in. It is the way you all are doing it. It's a part of the batter. It can't be a feature. And I think that's what tends to happen in a lot of urban education is something comes over the top and becomes the priority, and they start hiring for that and not doing the rest of the things. Listen, I'm the person that do agency as far as like working in schools and we built that on navigation, on awareness, navigation, and duty. So duty answers that first question when you ask Omar, how can schools integrate the concept of small contributions towards purpose in the everyday classroom routines? I do think you have to speak about purpose, but it has to be baked in, and you have to be a skilled enough teacher to weave that in to where, it's not the feature. And for the people that's listening, what I mean is, if all of us took you out to dinner, like we're having steak, we're having chicken, like, the mashed potatoes are a feature. Like, the mashed potatoes are a part of the meal, but it's not the feature. Like the steak is, the protein part of it is. And what happens in schools that are already failing kids, they tend to lean and find something that they can do and that they're good at. And then even more, it's kind of a to hell with the rest of this stuff, but we're changing things. We're changing lives. We're doing this, right? But the kids can't read. They can't do math. So I'm not a curmudgeon against happiness. I'm just very afraid of people that are not able to run schools or educate and what they're going to do with it in the wrong hands. David, go ahead.
Let me tell you what happened with this school too.
Did my theory come true into fruition almost a little?
It did. So it did. So we fought very hard. We fought like hell to turn this school around within a short period of time, so that we were able to demonstrate that we could do all of those other very meaningful things, and that students could show that we could demonstrably show that students were learning and that we were closing the achievement gap. But I was only there for 3 years, and when I left, essentially they took their eye off the academic side of the house, and they were still doing the Montessori kind of like empathy, community building stuff. But at the end of the day, they come up for renewal last year. The school got shut down because of academic outcomes, period. So it's not like a nice to have thing. I think both are actually necessary, essential, but you have to do them well with fidelity. And you have to be able to demonstrate impact. Otherwise you're just,
And I definitely agree.
Go ahead, you.
Yeah, I agree. I think I have seen it so much, the both and. I've seen it done terribly, where a school has become, the monument for character development, character education.
Right.
And everyone has integrity and no one can add. And it's just like, to Charles's point,
They got
like,
integrity.
Like, we would not accept a cell phone that only takes great pictures, but you can't call nobody on it or text nobody on it. It's like, so I totally agree. Like, it's got to do the thing, right? Education has got to do the thing, and that is educate, right? But that's all the way around. And I do see something like this being a part of education. But, to your point, I agree. It should not be, I don't even want to say the core thing. It should not replace or displace reading, writing, arithmetic, and critical thinking, and all of those things. But I have seen it done well, where they are merged and one literally supports the work of the other. And I really do believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask, this is oftentimes when we talk about stuff like this becomes like, sadly, a bit like highfalutin. It's like, well, like these private schools can worry about that shit, and these other schools can worry about that shit. It's always some weird ass school that's doing some kind of happiness project. And I think the four of us have gotten very specific in saying there is a concrete balance between being able to do high level academics and having the culture very much baked in. I got to ask, oftentimes, and yeah, dude, it relies so much on the leader, but communities like ours, like Jubilee School, where kids are basically shivving each other and shit with like pencils, like where does this play a role there? Where does the science of fostering purpose and belonging, what role does that play in our schools for, underserved student populations, marginalized populations, low income populations? Like the easy answer is like, hell yeah. But it's like, well, how and why the hell are we so neglected? So I'm curious to see what you all have seen out there in schools. And it's a big reason why I wanted to start my own. And it's like, shit, dude, I can do this all day, every day with low income kids for free. And we don't need the fancy shit. And it works out real well. But I just wondered why like it's so non-prevalent in these schools that we see and what role it plays in schools like that.
Oh, I'm gonna steal a line from David and let him take it away because teacher colleges suck. Like, I mean, again, this shouldn't even be a topic.
Talk that shit, baby. Talk that shit.
When you taught the right way, when you taught to educate in the right way, joy is a part of it. Like affirming is a part of it, knowing a purpose and knowing what your purpose is. But how can people that don't stay on job as a vocation pass that same sentiment on when they just doing it as a job? So I'll just stop there. I mean, but this shouldn't even be, it shouldn't have to be set up as a feature. It shouldn't have to be broken off from the fabric that comes with teaching. That cloth is fucked up. It's a bad cloth. It's dirty. It's a dirty rag. So, I mean, that's, I think David might have it on a little better than I can, but I mean, because I've heard him go off on teacher colleges for a long time. But we love to come down on the TFAs. We love to come down on private schools that might have nuns, teaching or whatever. But like, my thing is, if you went to the teacher college, why are you getting outdone by nuns? Like, I don't understand. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why does the school the most? Listen, do you understand that me with a doctorate, I could not walk into a traditional public school and teach or like have a semester. I can go to a charter school. I can do it in a private school, right? I can do it at a Catholic school, and again, the system that has the most regulations, the most regulated, is not have the best teaching. And I mean, and that's why these studies have to be done. That's why you have to do a study where you give kids $400 and be like, hey, how do we do X, Y, and Z? Because people want to do everything but their job. And if you actually do the job well, you learn this part.
And I would arguably say I'm interested in hearing how, because ultimately, it's ingrained in us as good teachers to be able to go into the classroom and have a sense of purpose. I'm actually curious as to like, how do you give kids, especially low income kids, especially kids who have lead, fucking rough life? What is it that y'all have done to give them a sense of purpose? What is it that y'all have done to give them not just a sense of purpose, but ultimately these like charitable acts towards each other? Because it's one thing, David, for you to have a Montessori school where kids are conflict resolutioning with one another, but that's radically different than the positive contributions of working to assist a fellow human being. Two kids working out their squabbles, quite different than one kid helping another kid to study or to learn or to learn from their mistakes or to mentor or to grow. And I'm interested in seeing, where have you seen it? What have you seen? What have you done? Give me a little bit of the how. What's in the box here?
I mean, for me, again, always at least 15 minutes of the school day is about making connections, right, with one another in a non-stressful environment and situation, right? So it's like, whether it is through the playing of games, the learning about the nuances of the person that you're sitting next to. Maybe you didn't know he was, Native American or indigenous, and why he wears certain cloth to school every day. You don't know. So literally building that into the day. Right now, we are not cutting down the time we spend on math. We are not cutting down the time we spend on reading. We're going to do our full 80, 90 minutes, right? We're going to do our full 75 minutes, whatever it is. We're not eliminating social studies. We're not eliminating any core subjects, right? But we are, and I was allowed to do this in Charter World, because you kind of can build your own schedule or build your own school year calendar. All right, we're going to make the school day just a tad bit longer so we can make sure that we have time in the day to connect as human beings. I think that's a huge part of it. Like the intentionality is part of it because it just doesn't happen. In one of the schools that I led in when I was AP, we did this whole initiative called Bucket Fillers. A book came out called Bucket Fillers. And somebody wrote us a song, Bucket Fillers, each and every day. And we played it over the loudspeaker. We taught the kids, what does it mean to be a bucket filler? Why? Because everybody was looking at me like, you dumb, you stupid, your mother. It was like, wow, this is not healthy. This is like, we get it. Like, that's what you do outside, you're arguing. But we really want this. We want to cultivate a positive place. But we have to be intentional. We have to teach them. So we had community circles where we would literally teach them, what does it mean to be a bucket filler, to pour into someone else, to say something kind to someone else? And what could that possibly provide for the other person that maybe you're not going to benefit from, but how might that serve the other person? And why is that important? Right. And literally having these conversations with kindergarten, pre-K through 5th grade. Right. And they got it over time. They heard us modeling it. That's the other thing as adults. Right. How do we speak to one another? How do we speak to the children? Right. And we model the behavior as well. So I don't think it's hard. I just think it takes folks that are bought in and connected and that are literally modeling the way and a little bit of patience. But my school was like in the hood. OK, most of the kids lived in the projects or houses near the projects. And they were walking around singing bucket fillers. So it just takes the right right school community, people that are bought in. And might I add, I was thinking about why something like this might need to happen around this time in our lives, right? What's happening, right? We got increased depression, increased suicide, increased drug use, right, among teens. And younger adolescents. So I think this is really, they're tapping on something that's really important because not only are we dealing with kids not wanting necessarily to be in school, but also all of these competing things, which we all could say we all had our thing. Drugs have always been around, all the things been around, but they're on the rise. And I think school could be one of the places where we become the great equalizer to try to, push away these negative influences.
Yeah, man, I'm glad it was a bucket filler, not the fucking filler.
Bucket filler.
Don't worry, you don't ever want us to have sponsors in life.
Also, I want to call out that. So the example I gave was like a small example. So I think I've also I spent 10 years as a principal at a high school in Oakland, right? Low income. We had like one white kid in 10 years, right?
Yeah, you get the minority scholarship.
You always got to have one.
Yep.
But we had a curriculum. So like, how do you do it? How is it actually done? I've talked about this before. We had a curriculum. This is like social emotional learning before people thought social emotional learning was about trans kids and drag reading hour. This is social emotional learning for young people, right? So we adopted this framework, provided us with a common language to use as adults and for young people and for parents too. So like we have 12 tools. I still have my 12 tools in my lanyard somewhere here. We had something that was, this is very basic, very human, right? We had a breathing tool, right? Breathing is a very powerful practice, right? It can help with conflict. It can help when people start to, they feel like they might be getting elevated, use your breathing tool. Quiet, safe space tool, right? Feeling overwhelmed, use that tool. Listening tool, practicing deep listening, even so important for young people. The empathy tool, right? The personal space tool. We all deserve personal space. I do, you do, right? And so ask for it if you need it, right? Use your words. This is a powerful one, right? Because especially the younger kids, they like to use their bodies. So like, or they get mad, did you use your words in the right way? the garbage can tool. Jubilee said something mean about me. It upset me, but it's not that big of a deal. So I'm just going to put it in the garbage can and move on. It's a tool, right? Taking time tool. Yeah, some people need more time for tasks than other people. Please and thank you tool, apology and forgiveness tool, the patience tool, and the courage tool. So all of these tools come with a curriculum. They can all be scaffolded and become more like get a little deeper as students get older. But this provides the framework to, I think, create that kind of intentional community within a school that is focused on validating and honoring the human-to-human connection between students, between adults and students, students and adults. This is how, but it has to be, it's not an add-on again. It's like, it has to be really part of your DNA. And if it's practiced, with fidelity, it can really work wonders, really in any setting. Doesn't matter. It can be a high poverty setting. It can be a low poverty setting.
Man, I love this.
All young people, they want safety and they want structure and they want predictability. And that's what this provides.
And I was going to add, you asked for a specific example. When I went to school in Kentucky, I think I was in second grade. I was young, maybe first. And it was just baked in. So for instance, they knew the boys needed to run around and do stuff. We had like spring games, like if it wasn't snowing or raining, like they would do stuff like set up for us in the whole school to do races and high jumps, and they would give out ribbons, and those ribbons were big. If you weren't super competitive, they would do things like, they have us lay down on the floor, when it's time to kind of wind down after David, you guys might know this better as master teachers. It was either after lunch or after recess. One of those, when we were still wound up, they would have us lay down on our little mats, and they'd be like, what's the thing you said you wanted to be in life, right? They didn't care if you wanted to be a ballerina, if you wanted to be a astronaut or a superhero. They'd be like, okay, what are you doing right now if you're that? And they would put you in these states. The whole school was poor. The school had corporal punishment, by the way. It's Kentucky. I think they still might have corporal punishment. It wasn't that controversial now. It was. They don't get in trouble to get your ass beat. Evolve. But what I'm saying is, we were all poor. Didn't nobody know they was poor? It's school. We would do things like in math class, like for math, we would have math competitions. And for math competitions, for multiplication, she gave out the big Snickers. So I wanted to win the big Snicker, right? Or who can read, they'd have reading competitions, right? They would do things that kind of fed into the competitive kid, and also the kid that's not competitive, but things that they might, like to do. But now that I look back as an adult, everything was tied to a lesson. It was tied to some kind of thing that we were being taught, right? Like we're doing high level math faster than everybody else. We're just trying to win the competition and win the Snickers. We don't know that we're being trained in math in this way, or reading out loud competitions, right? Things like that. Oh, you're the the best readers get to be the newscasters for the day. And basically you would just read out loud. They would pick two, and it'd be like a script that the school sends out that the teachers got to read, right? But they would just let us read it. And it was like a big honor, So this is what I mean. It has to be a part of the batter. It has to be baked in. What I fear, and I hate I know I'm always a person on these shows that's talking from the place of fear, but it's because I've seen it so much. Like you saw, David, when you were talking about, I've seen like restorative justice become that's all the school is known for.
Yeah,
now.
that's all it's doing, man.
And restorative justice is a great concept. It's a beautiful concept. But when it starts to become more important than the things that we actually do, it's a grift. It's not that. Yep. And so that's so I don't hate happiness. I don't hate love, but I think there's a
you sounded very convincing there.
I don't, right? Because I know what Jubilee is saying.
Love.
I understand what Jubilee is saying, and I have zero pushback. But the underlying thing that the audience don't know is, but I already know Jubilee is a thorough educator. I already know that this is a vocation for her. So I don't have to worry about that. But when you got brand new ass teachers who's 23 and 24 years old and they're brand new in their career, and then you bring in a new idea and they take fully to that idea, you're stunting their growth as an educator. They're you know what I'm saying? Like they're worried more about the size than how to make the main meal. Go be a pastry chef there, my dude. But we need you being able to educate kids and make them happy while you're doing it. Like, and sometimes they're not going to be happy. Here's the other thing. We have a lot of unstable adults because they're younger. The kids are older. Like, we have adults that are not fulfilled in who they are personally, and they want to be friends with the kids. They feel bad when the kids like them. Some of them are reliving their own high school trauma. That's when you ever been to school and you seen a teacher in the middle or listening to student gossip? That's that shit. And everybody here has been in a leadership position, and you know what I'm talking about. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to reestablish what it means as teaching as vocation. Not as like because when you don't, it's always going to be monster of the week shit, and these kids are going to stay in the low end of the stick.
The mummy and shit. Listen, I'm like, we're already at time. I'm gonna provide. You guys can go one of either way. Any final thoughts? Or answer this question, and I'm going to ask the question. Then I'm going to shout out Bill. Then I'm going to give an impression to give you guys some time to think about this and shit. I love Bill. And the question is, I was going to ask about kids, but let's talk about the impending results for adults. Because Doc, you're the one who brought it up, and I love it. It was like foreshadowing my thoughts. What are the impending results for adults? So if we found this kind of key, this structure of contributing to others, looking out for others, helping others is a formula for happiness amidst very tumultuous times and very unhappy adults. And you said it best, man, adults who get up into the gossip of kids and reliving the high school shit. What are some of the implications of this study for adults? You can go that way. We can have some closing thoughts. And while you're thinking about that, I want to shout out Bill for what is essentially a Rodney Dangerfield joke in the comments. I'll tell you what, I went to my psychiatrist. He told me I was nuts. And I was like, I'll tell you what, I'm going to look for a second opinion. He's like, all right, you're fat and you're lazy too. Oh, I tell you, I get no respect.
That is a great, that is
wow.
That is a great one.
You get instead of a rant today.
I don't think Jubilee knows Rodney Dangerfield like that.
Was that the guy from the honeymoon? No.
It's the guy from Caddyshack.
He did.
Caddyshack. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you. I was so ugly when I was born. The doctor took one look at me and he slapped my mother.
But he's super funny. You might like Ladybugs. Go watch Ladybugs. Where
it's a great movie. It's got one of his best lines. I'm Chester. I'm great. I'm wonderful. Everybody likes me. Hey, Chester, to me, you look like you're an asshole. Oh, if I'm an asshole, there's a reason for it. You're contagious.
I love it. Joffrey just said that was a great impersonation. See, we got people watching. That was good. You should have did that at the end because I don't want to follow that. But who's next?
Come on, man.
I'll go very quickly to get us onto the.
What up, Joffrey? Love you, man. Miss you.
So I will say very briefly. I think any of this work that we're talking about, whether it be like really deep, like culture work in schools, that's the work that's associated that Omar is talking about, like this kind of developing this deeper meaning of like giving back and helping other human beings. Like when we do this work in K-12 schools, I think the one thing that we didn't talk about on the show, but I think it's kind of a given, is that it requires educators that understand the context of the work that's happening in their schools. So again, like the importance of like local educators that are from the community, that look like the students that they are employed to support and to develop, because this is not just about a job at a school where you clock out at 4. Real educators that are working in their communities, that care deeply about their communities, those are the ones that really commit to the work in education, because it's not just a job. It's has much deeper meaning and deeper implications than just what you can get done in an 8-hour day. It's about community. It's about empowering the next generation. So I'll leave it there.
Agreed.
Well said. Well said.
I don't know if Jube, I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Jube.
I think this is really, really interesting. I don't think it's new. I think the study has brought, some attention to it, but this is something that is a need. Like I said before, I've seen it done, the both and. We are focusing on, high achievement and a high level of joy. And so I think they are both necessary, and a good teacher knows how to do both. And so if we are going to fix these effed up teacher development or training programs, we could probably start there. Because honestly, how many teachers go through these teacher prep programs and they still don't know how to manage a class, how to do connection, how to make the classroom an inviting place. And I would be scared for anybody to get in front of my child, which I guess I'm scared now, that doesn't know how to do that, right? Like all you want to do is teach the reading and writing and math, which you're mediocre at. And then you don't know how to talk to children, connect with children, or make the classroom an inviting place. And then you wonder why nobody wants to come to your class to learn. So that has to be addressed. And then additionally, I was thinking about, it's the joy of giving, right? I think it's feel-good chemicals, it's endorphins, it's what is it? Oxytocin, it's dopamine, it's all the feel-good things that happen. It can boost self-esteem, right? There's social connection, and I found a quote, right? It says, and of course it's a couple of them, but I'll go with the one that is by Ralph Waldo Emerson that says, "It is one of the most beautiful compensations of this life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself." I think that is also what it is about, because we also have a generation of children who can be on this for 24 hours without drinking and using the restroom, right? And not give two rats asses about anything else that is happening around them. Okay. I am from a city where if someone is rolling around foaming at the mouth on the train, the people will say a good God bless you, and step over you. And somebody will call 911. So I do think that this could also be like an intervention, right? It's almost like back to the basics. Let's bring it back. Let's never override the importance of reading, writing, arithmetic, but let's also understand that this is a precursor to it. It's a foundational tool to help us achieve at high academic levels. Final thoughts.
Damn.
Great. That was a great statement, Jube. I think you killed it. Great show, Omar. And just to the people that come through, Jeffrey, Bill, we love you, damn it. Just keep it coming, Bill.
Hell yeah, man.
We
can't get enough.
We might not post all of them, but we gonna read them. We got you. I would just say this, man. I think in closing to this, I think everybody hit it on the head. I think that we have to just train educators better and just have to have a higher standard, and it should be kind of baked into what you do. And everybody's been in that bad school, right? That school that ain't got enough money. It's always something wrong. Outside is drugs, it's guns, it's killing, it's crazy. But then there's usually like one or two teachers in that school, and you go in a room and they close the door, and it's like an oasis. It's like they're so good at what they do. And that exists in every setting. It exists in rich settings, in poor settings. And if we could actually aim to build more educators like that, then these conversations become moot. But the thing that scares me about these conversations is because what I know and what I've seen with enough research and being in a field that does research, right? Like I remember when grit got big. I remember when zero tolerance got big, right? And again, I don't fault the original people that made it, because I don't think they made it to be this all or nothing thing. I think they were saying, hey, if you know this kind of operates, but we take that shit especially bad schools, and they just blanketly implement things, and then that it becomes the thing as opposed to like something that is to improve. But if everybody can be that teacher down the hall, that when that door closes, it's an oasis and learning is happening and agency is happening. And you know what comes with that? Happiness and laughter and knowing my self-worth and knowing like that, oh, this matters. The number one finding in my book is a whole book on Amazon that I wrote about it. The number one finding of how students can be successful in education is when they know that they matter and that they have to want more and love their education, because it has to be a passing off of parents to students to really appreciate the value of education, to fully get the most out of it. And it's teachers like that person down the hall that closes their door, creates a new world, shuts everything out. They live and they do that. And if we're able to do that, who knows? Sky is the limit about what we can be. And I don't think this country wants that. I don't think they want schools in poor neighborhoods and cultures and things like that. I don't think they want Native American students and brown students and black students and poor students. I don't think they want them figuring that stuff out, because when you do, you don't, when you are truly agentic, you don't allow certain things in your life later on. And I think that they need a proper class in our country. You need a class of people that have to take the menial jobs, that have to take what comes, that don't know happiness, that don't know happiness as an option, because that's the only way this system works. And that's what I truly, truly think. And that's why this study worries me, because I can see it getting backed. I can see the Ford Foundation picking it up. And I can see over the next 6 years, there's all this happiness stuff implemented, but we still can't read and we still don't know how to do numbers. But damn it, they marked on the paper that they were happy. So God bless. But it was a great episode, Omar. Thank you for doing it.
You're quite welcome, man. I enjoyed this as hell. To all of the phenomenal people on this show, Bill, we love you. To our audience, Joff, it was great hearing from you as well. We are well over time. I just want to say thank you. Huge shout out to our veterans in the audience. This has been the South Star Classroom, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back next week with a kick-ass show, same bad time and channel. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace out. Hold on. It's not letting me sign us out. We're not out yet. Hold on.